Most people don't understand this because they haven't seen it. And they think it's not possible and it's not going to work. They just haven't seen it yet, but it's coming. The metaverse is not a single destination. It is the increasing digitalization of our lives. So right here we are now. I'm in the Cayman Islands. You guys are in Brazil. This is basically a metaverse experience. This is a digital experience that did not exist 5-6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we now take it for granted. So there's a lot of people, like half of the entire staff at Real Vision, I've never met in person because of this new metaverse. Distributed workplaces are basically metaverse experiences. Mm-hmm. So everything is being digitized. The acceleration of that digitization is the metaverse. So when we live in this increasingly digital world, then it becomes increasingly difficult for me to exchange value with you until we've built out this blockchain infrastructure that allows us to exchange value digitally, instantaneously around the world. And it's a network that nobody owns. So, that is a great thing. But as Web3 rolls out, we will stop spending our lives arguing over Solana versus Terra or Bitcoin versus Ethereum. And we all care about the consumer applications of stuff that people won't know or care is Bitcoin. We don't talk about, oh, we're on an internet connection today. We don't care. We're on Zoom. And it could be Zoom, or it could be Microsoft Teams, or it could be whatever. We don't really care either. I don't even know what computer you're on. You don't know what I'm on, what internet network you're on. None of that matters. But it's the consumer application that's going to come. And NFTs were the first sight of a consumer application. They're still very geeky. It's still a crappy environment. The wallets are still impossible. Most people don't understand why you want to own a stupid picture of a monkey. None of this really makes sense. The art market was a little more understandable. Mm-hmm. But my guess is once large communities of culture, so music and sports predominantly, and probably fashion, those three are probably the largest cultural influences in the world. Once they start adopting it, which is happening at NFT level, but I think it's also going to happen at social tokens level, then we will all understand what it means to have the Web3 idea of a stake in a network. And that's the game changer. And we won't think of it as a cryptocurrency or whatever thing. It's like you're participating in that network. It's much like if we'd had all been given shares in Facebook when Facebook launched, we would have all participated in that network. We didn't though. Everybody fears change, right? That's just a human thing. And the rate of change here is extremely fast. So the gamers were a distinct group of people that had their little world and they knew how it worked. This other world has walked into their world and said, hey, we can bring value where you can move this stuff across games and you can own your things. They're like, back off, this is ours. And it's the same that Jack Dorsey's having with...
Also Discord integrating.
All of these things is people fearing change. Jack Dorsey's like, well, I don't want this Web3 thing. I just want Bitcoin. And, the Ethereum guys are like, we don't want Solana and Terra and Avalanche. Everybody fears change. The traditional media fears change. The banking industry fears change. When change is happening so fast and it's not being driven by one entity, it's this broadly spread phenomena. It's scary because you don't feel in control. Yeah. So I think the gamers feel the same way. Somebody's walked into their world and told them that they can change it. And they're like, no. Yeah. So, I've been toying with the idea. I first started thinking about, can we earn a universal basic income in this new digital world? And we're seeing it in things like Axie Infinity, right? There's ways you can earn a living by working for a community and getting paid in tokens or fiat. So that becomes interesting. So now you've got jobs. I mean, I've just hired an architect firm in crypto voxels who built the Real Vision headquarters. I paid them in ETH.
On the metaverse.
Yeah, in the metaverse. That's a whole different thing. That didn't exist before. But what I'm getting really interested in is the concept of universal basic equity. So you like Rihanna, and you want to be part of Rihanna's community. You identify with Rihanna as a pop star and the culture that's around her. And now you can own one day a token of that network. So now you're incentivized to help Rihanna's network grow. And with that, your token will go up in value. Metcalfe's law, that's how you price networks, the number of nodes on the network and the interconnection between them all. So everybody's now incentivized to help that network grow in value, i.e. to make Rihanna's community bigger and more vibrant. And just by being in culture, you have an asset that goes up. So now you're not having to go into an office and work for somebody. You're working for a cultural phenomenon. And that as universal basic equity is amazing.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
It can be around a fashion brand, it can be around a sports team. Imagine that around a sports team in Brazil. People have an opportunity
People here are crazy. Everything stops, when Brazil is playing, like the men's soccer team, everything stops. Like the country stops to watch the team play,
That's right. And so imagine if you tokenize that, now you're incentivized to grow the community of one of the leading Brazilian clubs. And you want to make it international, you start making video content about it, you're on Twitter, you're creating a more vibrant community, and people can see that and they want to be part of that community too, and therefore the value of that community appreciates. Mm-hmm. Now maybe, because it's like-minded people, a bunch of those token holders get together, create an NFT, and then create a business off the back of it, selling new footballs because somebody's come up with an idea. And before you know it, you're building network effect on top of network effect. And that is extraordinary around culture. That was not possible before. Most people don't understand this because they haven't seen it. And they think it's not possible and it's not going to work. They just haven't seen it yet. But it's coming. I mean, I'm working on a project on this, and I know several other people are. There's some small social token things. We're starting to see NFTs as social tokens developing as well. But I think this is where the big consumer application is going to come from. That because this is borderless, you can be in Brazil and participate in Manchester United's economy. Mm-hmm. Right before that was impossible to do. You had to go and open a brokerage account in the UK to buy shares in Man United. What are you getting for that? It's not the same thing, right? So this is a big playing field leveler. It allows all sorts of people an opportunity. And because tokens can be fractionalized, you can all put in 5% of your net worth, whatever that is. So that helps adjust for the fact that, let's say you're in Turkey now, your currency is collapsing, but you can still think of it in the right terms. Also, because these things are priced in different currencies, it gives people the opportunity to avoid devaluation of their own currency.
Do you think the metaverse is a chance for human society to have a more fair economy?
So yes and no. Yes, because of the things we've talked about it basically opens up wealth creation opportunities on an equal playing field. In the metaverse, nobody cares if you're black, white, female, male. If you're in Africa, South America, or Europe, nobody cares because it's a different world. So it changes the dynamic for many people. It opens up opportunities for many people. But what we're doing here is we're creating digital sovereign states, essentially. Because if you think about it, we've got many of these, even the bankless DAO has an organizing set of principles. You have kind of a set of rules, a mission, and you've now got a system of money. You've basically created a state. Now, what's interesting is tokenization is a supercharging of behavioral incentives. This is why it's spreading so fast. And behavioral incentives can be used for great means or bad means. So, the purpose of what you're doing is to spread the word and communicate this whole new revolution. But somebody else can set up a DAO with a token that has completely the opposite. And it's going to be very powerful. It's basically what social media did, was split people into different buckets.
Polarization also.
But this incentivizes them in a more powerful way because there's a system of money attached. So you have to be careful. But my guess is, generally speaking, communities want to do good. It's actually quite difficult to organize a community that wants to be evil. And so I think with this more distributed nature of the membership of these large communities, it will tend to err towards the good side than the negative side, but not always.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.